Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest on the heat wave that is coming in for the British Isles over the next couple of days. Today is another very pleasant warm day with temperatures in the low to mid 20s for quite a few. This looks likely to be the coolest day we're going to see widely for at least a week, if not 10 days to 2 weeks. Exceptionally persistent hot weather is coming in as we're just seeing high pressure stop on top of us, wafting up southerly winds, really hot air mass coming up from the south, meaning temperatures widely will be in the high 20s to low 30s, and we could at times peak in around that mid 30s range. So we're not going to be threatening any all-time temperature records, we're not going to be threatening any regional temperature records most likely, but we're still going to be incredibly hot at heatwave levels for perhaps, as I said, 7 to 10 days. Could be very oppressive out there, and with the heat just persisting, it will just mean overnight sleeping is going to be very difficult, and in the days as well, it's just going to be oppressively hot. We will have a look at the various temperature charts from different models. We'll also have a look at the pressure and upper air temperatures, of course, the next couple of weeks as well, seeing this heat wave, but not only that, but the potential breakdown of it as well, as there are signals for maybe some more low pressure dominance in the second half of August, but it is so far ahead. As I said, probably 14 days away at least. It is quite uncertain at this stage, but we'll have a look at all of that on all the various models. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in description. So if you start on the live radar, you can see very minimal precipitation around at the moment. You can see some precipitation moving through in northern Scotland. Again, not too unusual for here. We've had a lot of precipitation there, but areas in the south and the east still minimal precipitation. Across southwest as well, minimal precipitation at all. Of course, we're seeing hosepipe bans introduced in some areas, and I would not be surprised to see that expanded over the next couple of weeks, because we are highly unlikely to see any major precipitation in these drought areas for at least 10 days, if not 2 weeks, or even more than that. Hopefully we do see a soaking out at some point, whether it's in the form of thunderstorms, or whether we do eventually see proper low pressure systems moving in with frontal rainfall, but at the moment we're not seeing any of that in the short to even mid-term. Now, if we do have a look at the temperatures today, it's a warm day, typical summer day, temperatures widely in the low 20s, some areas in the south getting towards the mid-20s, but it's not majorly hot at all. It's a pleasant day. Nice to be out there in shorts and the t-shirts, but as soon as the sun starts to set in the evening, it will turn chillier. But as I said at the start of the video, this is likely to be the coolest day for perhaps 2 weeks plus, maybe. So yeah, do cherish this sort of weather if you do enjoy warm but not oppressively hot conditions, as air masses sitting across North Africa, Spain and the Mediterranean will be heading northwards over the coming days, starting to arrive in the UK by Monday, and it's looking likely we could see a streak from Monday and for the following 10 days of consistent around 30 or above that in terms of the top temperatures somewhere in the British Isles. So we could see consistent 7 to 10 days of 30 degrees plus as that air mass does arrive. So if we do now have a look at the UKV, having a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, we'll whiz through the precipitation as there's admittedly not a lot going on really, and you can see a bit of precipitation across the north at the moment, but again nothing too much. We do see through Sunday perhaps again some more precipitation over the western parts of Scotland, bit of cloud here or there, but nothing really as we head into Monday. Some weather fronts trying to approach to the north of Scotland, but we've got high pressure building in, so most areas it's sunny, dry, and through Tuesday continuing to be dry, widely dry, even parts of western Scotland remaining mostly dry. That continues into Wednesday and Thursday. Weather fronts try to approach in, but you see this massive slab of clear skies, and that's where we have a massive area of high pressure. You can see that big area of high pressure. Look at the upper air temperatures getting up into the mid-teens, which is heat wave values. Remember, 15 degrees at 850 HPA gives the temperatures in excess of 30 degrees. And because the ground is so dry at the moment, and it's so warm because we've had a generally very warm summer so far, it just means those upper air temperatures don't even need to be that hot to get 30 degrees. Even at 13, 14 degrees, we can get well above 30 degrees. Because, of course, we've got normal rule of thumb, you can add about 15 degrees in the summer to the upper air temperatures. So 15 degrees at 850 HPA would generally give temperatures in excess of 30 degrees or slightly above. But even with 13 or 14 degrees like this, we could still see 31, 32 degrees just because it is so warm at the surface already. So that is something we also do need to take into account with this by having a look at the 2 metre temperatures, not only the upper air temperatures. So we can see this afternoon widely into the low 20s for many, high teens still in the north and the west, across parts of Ireland and Northern Ireland, still a bit cooler, but that warmer, higher pressure is slowly building in. Elsewhere, perhaps mid-20s, 23, 24 degrees at the peak temperatures of today, but nothing amazing at all, generally around average, maybe slightly above, slightly below average in a few places. So, yeah, not too bad of a day. Tomorrow, those temperatures will start to rise a bit higher, perhaps widely low 20s, but getting towards 23, 24 degrees, and start to see above average temperatures, maybe 25, 26 or 27. And that's just going to rise for Monday. And you can see by Monday afternoon, we're starting to hit those high 20s, 27, 28 degrees. You can even rule out a 29 or a 30 degree in there. And that's why I say perhaps from Monday onwards, we could start to see consecutive days, many consecutive days of that 30 degree mark being reached. Again, it's touch and go whether we reach it on Monday, but undoubtedly we'll probably get it close to it, if not smash it on Tuesday. You can see there widely 29 or 30 degrees, most likely will be a degree or two higher in a few isolated spots. And as we head through to Wednesday as well, again, even hotter, widely 29 to 31 degrees. Wouldn't be surprised to see a local 32 or 33. Just persistent heat here. And the big thing with this is because it's more of an easterly flow and less of a southerly flow in terms of the surface winds, it means the top temperatures will probably be further westwards than they were with the heat wave you saw in the middle of July, where those top temperatures were from Yorkshire, down through Cambridgeshire, down towards London. This time, likely to be in the West Midlands, South West England, Southern England, still yes, in East Midlands, North East England, towards East Anglia and London, but you can see it's slightly cooler and not elevated than everywhere else that we normally see. The top area, most likely to be Wales, West Midlands and South West England. So do keep an eye on that. I wouldn't be surprised even to see an amber extreme heat warning put in force for this in those areas, because this is well above average for those specific areas. If you saw these temperatures peaking in London, East Anglia, Cambridgeshire, where we do have higher heatwave thresholds, wouldn't expect perhaps an extreme heat warning. But because it's in the West Midlands, South West England, where heatwave temperatures are around that 25 to 27 degree range, well above that, I wouldn't be surprised if we did see this. So I think we saw one last summer for similar temperatures like this, persistent heat. So we'll just have to see exactly what happens with that. So if we do have a look at the GFS and compare the 2 metre temperatures, we now get into the range where we have to compare models at the surface. And you can see, we'll just skip to Monday when the heat starts to properly arrive. You can see widely 27, 28 or even an isolated 30. That's why I say there's potential for 30 degrees on Monday, but we will just have to see exactly how it does play out. As we head into Tuesday, widely 29 or 30 degrees, perhaps 31 degrees across central southern England, and by Wednesday 30, 31, maybe 32. Another important thing is the nighttime temperatures. We get 3 a.m. widely in the mid to high teens, if not low 20s, so oppressively warm overnight, and it's not just a day or two, it's going to be consecutive 5, 6, 7 nights. So we'll get to a point where if you struggle to sleep one night, it's just going to compound, and that is the issue with this. It's not just the one-off day of heat, it's the persistence of this, and we could even be seeing bigger issues with this sort of persistent 7-day plus heat than we saw with the 2 or 3 day more extreme and intense heat that we saw in the middle of July, and that's something we need to keep an eye on, just the persistence of this. As we head into Friday, widely 30 to 34 degrees, very, very hot, and once again into Saturday, 30 to 34 degrees again, and we could always be a degree or two warm. That 35, 36 degrees is possible. Sunday the 14th, 30 to 33, and Monday the 15th, now we're getting almost 10 days ahead, still in the low 30s, and as we head into Tuesday the 16th, we're getting beyond the day 10, still into 30 degrees, and the 17th starting to cool down. So the GFS has around the 17th, in 11 days' time, us starting to cool down, still being very warm, if not hot, but not right reaching those low 30s. So we could see at least 7 days, if not maybe close to 10 days, of persistent 30 degree temperatures, which really is quite incredible indeed. Now, if we do compare it to the ECMWF high resolution, today we're going to get to day 10 on this, so we'll see pretty much the full extent of the heat on this. So if we do run out to Monday afternoon temperatures, you can see those temperatures peaking, maybe 27, 28 degrees, as you couldn't rule out 29, or maybe even a 30 degrees in there as well. As we head to Tuesday, you can see widely, again, 27, 28, maybe 29 or 30 degrees. And as we head towards Wednesday, we do see that temperature finally reach that 29 or 30 degree mark. Very, very, very likely there. So Wednesday, definitively, I think, from the models is going to reach 30 degrees. Monday and Tuesday, hit and go, just depending on how hot those upper air temperatures are going. But considering the UKV and both the GFS were slightly warmer, we could probably just say the ECMWF is maybe a degree or two slightly cooler at this point. Thursday, though, you can see guaranteed to get into the 30s, widely 30 to 33 degrees, and similar on Friday, widely once again in around that 30 to 32 degree range, and we're getting to the point where we're getting towards that longer range period on the ECMWF. So we can't have a look at the 3 p.m. temperatures, so you can always add a degree or two onto this once we reach the peak temperatures of the day. And by Saturday, widely once again, 33, 34. Wouldn't be surprised to see 35, 36 in this at 3 or 4 p.m. So incredibly hot, starting to touch on old heat records. Of course, our all-time temperature record is now into the 40s, but back a couple of years ago when it was only 38.1 degrees, before 2019, we would be even potentially threatening that in a few spots. 36, 37 degrees is possible at 3 p.m. on this run. So we are still hitting extreme heat values, but it's just our sort of bands have slightly increased because of the heat we've seen over the last few years, and specifically this past July. And by Sunday, still getting into the low to mid-30s. Before Monday, it starts still into the mid-30s, and you'd hope by a couple of days following that it would start to cool down. As you look at the upper air temperatures there, still incredibly hot, but cooler air is sweeping in. So this ECMWF run, even at day 10, is still incredibly hot, and it wouldn't likely to decrease in temperatures perhaps until the 17th, 18th, or even 19th. So yeah, really, really persistent hot weather incoming. Now, if you have a look at the GFS run, we'll just run through the pressure and the temperature here. Again, because it'll be able to show us a bit of the breakdown in the longer term, you can see the high pressure in control at the moment and continuing to be in control over the coming weeks. And you can see across the northern Scotland, we could still see influences off the Atlantic, so it could be slightly cooler, more unsettled in a few places here, but generally high pressure in control, the wind coming in from the east, and that's why central, southern and southwestern parts, West Midlands, Wales could see the highest temperatures, and eventually we just draw in very hot air generally in from the near continent, for eventually the GFS starts to degrade this away at around the 16th. You can see that a northerly wind comes in, a bit more unsettled conditions, and eventually, right in the extended range, we see a big low pressure system move through. That would give a widespread soaking, but this is showing it in 15 days. So in the extended range, and we know we can't trust anything really with too much degree of certainty beyond day 10. So a hint of the Atlantic coming back in with a north and northwesterly wind, cool upper air conditions, but it's so far in the future we can't put any real detail to it or really believe it that much. Now, if you run to Monday, you can see initially warm upper air temperatures, 10 to 15 degrees at 850 HPA, so above average, but only slightly. But those upper air temperatures just warm, getting towards 15 to 20 degrees at 850 HPA, all the way through until eventually around day 11, day 10, day 11, day 12, we start to see lower pressure running in off the North Atlantic, turning things much cooler. So GFS does break it down around day 11, day 12, but in the meantime, still incredibly, and I mean incredibly warm, persistent heatwave conditions. Now, if we do have a look at the GM, see how that does compare over the next 10 days, you can see high pressure in control. Of course, very similar to the GFS, continuing to be in control and eventually wafting up a southerly wind, a very hot air mass coming up there, 20 degrees at 850 HPA, highly likely for eventually the westerly winds start to push back in, but we still have a very warm air mass. So even though it's more of a westerly flow, we've still got this high pressure to our east, holding that hot air mass in place. So we're still likely here at day 10, seeing those temperatures still in the mid to high 20s, if not touching on 30 degrees in a few spots. Now, after you finish, have a look at the ECMWF before we just briefly look at the ensembles. Again, high pressure in control at the moment, continuing to be in control, for eventually we start to waft up a south to southeasterly wind by around a week's time. Very hot, 20 degrees at 850 HP, engulfing the whole of the country, the 15-degree line, and 20 degrees in a few spots. So it's very hot. Not the extreme 20 to 25 degree widespread air mass we saw in the middle of July, and that's why 40 degrees I think is completely off the cards. But still, could get to 20 degrees at 850 HP, which would give temperatures in the mid 30s, 35 to maybe 38 degrees is possible. And even at the end of the run, starting to see a northerly wind coming. You can look at the pressure charts there. That would start to be cooler air direction, but we just have this big, hot, humid air mass stuck over the top of the UK even at day 10. But it would eventually move away, give it a day or two, but still incredibly hot there at day 10. It's the persistence of this which is incredible. Now, after we finish, have a look at the ensembles. We start on the GFS, and you can see very warm over the next week to 10 days. Just increasing pretty much every day, peaking around that 15 to 20 degree mark. Again, the run's getting towards 20 degrees. We give those temperatures 35, 36, 37 degrees, maybe even 38 degrees. The one staying more around 15, 16 degrees would be that widespread sort of 31, 32, 33 degree range. So incredibly hot whatever run you look at, but just sort of degrees of heat, really. Beyond that, around the 15th of August, we start to see it degrade. We see some runs holding the temperatures, some dropping it quite quickly. We could see some precipitation around then, but there really is no persistent signal of any major precipitation, just a few precipitation spikes, and the temperatures generally look like they will slowly move down towards average. So still could see some lingering heat there all the way to around the 18th or even 20th of August. 15 days, these warmer, above average conditions are likely to last, with of course 7 to 10 days in there of perhaps extreme heat and heat wave conditions. And again, you look at the 2 meter temperatures there, widely 25 to 30 degrees, and this is ensembles. They're always going to be a couple degrees under because they are lower resolution, so you can always add a degree or two on there. So when you see the average there, 28, 29 degrees is most likely widely 31, 32 or 33, locally even higher. Now, if you finish just comparing it to the ECMWF ensembles, look at the midnight run. Very, very similar, warming up over the next 7 days to 10 days, peaking around that 15 to 20 degree mark. And yeah, just a very slow decrease around that 15th, 16th of August mark. More precipitation charts here, precipitation spikes here, sorry, but as expected with 50 ensemble members. It just generally, as I said, looks incredibly hot. Potentially touching average again in around that 20th of August mark. We'll have to see. I don't know if it will exactly play out like this, but looking up until around the 14th, 15th of August, the next 7 to 10 days, it looks highly, highly likely we stay in persistent hot weather, heat wave conditions, pretty much for all of us. And yeah, really is looking like a typical summer heat wave. And we could be seeing a really, really hot summer. This could be a real summer to remember, with not only breaking 40 degrees in July, but this could be a real persistent week to 2 week long heat wave. And of course, with the drought conditions we have, this would undoubtedly allow wildfires to start to spike up again. So yeah, not good news if I do say so myself. So hopefully it's not as bad, and of course hopefully we do see some rain and some thunderstorms around that 14th, 15th, 16th of August mark. But at the moment, only in the reliable time frame, it just looks hot and dry, and with heat wave conditions returning for all. So anyway, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.